Hi, my name is AK and you're watching the Swashbuckler's Arsenal. Today's video is all about taking a design from idea to reality. This is the first video in a series of prom-themed videos, so I don't actually know when prom season is. I could probably look that up, but I didn't. So this could be too early or too late, but I like making evening gowns and like fancy dresses, so we're gonna make it anyway. The first step is obviously to either draw your design or get an image of what you want to make. So the dress we're making today is inspired from a Pinterest picture that I found that I will put on screen now. The only thing I'll say for something like this is between the two colors, make sure that they're similar material. The next thing we're going to do is identify the pattern pieces or structure of the dress. So the first and easiest one that I can point out is a pencil skirt shape. The second one is going to be a bodice that opens in the back and has a wide neckline and two darts. The cape aspect of the top, I'm kind of thinking of freestyling that or looking to see if I have any pattern that sort of has that same shape. I'm kind of thinking I'm going to cross that bridge when I get there. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the mock-up. Okay, after some digging, I found a 50s Vogue pattern with a wide neck and an opening in the back. And then if you've been watching my videos, you know that whenever I make something, I keep the mock-up. So for this, I have the pencil skirt mock-up that's already fit to me. We're going to work on the bodice first. If you haven't seen my video on how I adjust patterns to fit me, check it out in the description box below or in the iCard above. The only thing I'm going to change on this pattern is the waist. If you can see here, it comes below the waist, and I want this pencil skirt to be high-waisted. Okay, so I sewed together the bodice and put it on inside out, and the waist was a little loose, so I took it in some on each of the side seams. Everything else looks pretty good. The only other thing is the length, because obviously this is too long. So we probably want it to be right about here. So I'm gonna mark some of the key points. So after you've put the pencil skirt together and the bodice together, you're going to find the center front of both. So I'm taking the front panel of the bodice, folding it in half, and I'm going to put a pin to mark the center. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the front of the skirt. I'm going to put right sides together. Then I'm going to match side seams. See if there's a ton of excess in the back. I think this pencil skirt was supposed to have a zipper on the side and not on the back. That's one thing that I need to work on when saving my mock-ups as patterns, is jotting down a few notes about them, like what they're from and how to put them together. Stitch this at 5/8 of an inch. I threw a zipper in the back. I put pins where I want to bring the skirt up to, which is actually higher than I first chalked it out. Now I'm going to work on the cape. I'm going to use the pattern pieces for the bodice to draw the neckline, and then I'm going to measure everything else. For the bottom of it, 51 inches all around, 9 inches down, and then my shoulders, 16 and a half. Now we're going to draw that on mock-up fabric. First thing we're going to do is we've laid it on the fold so that everything is symmetrical and matches. I'm going to chalk this neckline out. I'm going to measure 9 inches down over here. Now it definitely needs to come at a curve, but I also think it needs to be 9 inches and not all the way down there. So. 9 inches. Alright, after you sew the front and back together, so just like we did with the bodice and the skirt, we're going to find the center for both. Take the right side of the cape and put it to the wrong side or back of the dress. Line up the center and pin it in place, and then match everything else up. So now I'm going to clip these curved edges so that everything lays flatter. I just realized that a good idea would have been to adjust the cape before putting it on the dress, but oh well. Alright, and this is the reason we put it wrong to right side, is because when you flip it out, it'll be right side out and you've got a nice finished seam. Alright, so I put it on and everything fits correctly. The sleeves are a bit poofy, so I'm going to curve them in, and this goes like out and in, so I'm going to straighten that. My battery died on my camera, so I seam ripped and made the mock-up into a pattern when the camera was off, which in hindsight I should have just waited. I'm going to kind of explain what I did. The first thing is cutting the bodice at the point where I wanted the skirt to go to, and that meant that there were going to be certain aspects of the bodice that were still attached to the skirt. So this part up here are part of the bodice. I put a pin at the point where I wanted to raise the skirt, and then I just cut that off. And then when we cut this out of the actual fabric, we'll add seam allowance. You need to seam rip the darts that are on the skirt. This one is a part of where the panel for the bodice was, so there was already a line there, and I seam ripped that seam and then cut along the seam, because when we cut it out, we're going to chalk mark that and it's going to work like a dart. So we're going to pin this, we'll pin these where the dart originally was on the skirt, and then we'll want to bring that, all of that together next to each other, and it will be the same size, hopefully. I should probably do another mock-up, but I'm not going to. This was all just one piece. There was no seam there. I just cut the line straight down, and we'll do the same thing. It'll just be an extended version of the dart. Front skirt piece is cut on the fold, so I cut the front skirt piece in half, and we'll lay this on the fold and cut it out. And then with the bodice, all I had to do was seam rip it apart, and then the front I cut along the fold, and we'll lay this on the fold and cut it out. And then I did that same thing with the front of the cape. We cut out all the pieces that we need. I laid out the front and back necklines on interfacing and cut out about, I think that's about 3 inches, and ironed that on so that the neckline will stay in place. This is the lining, and then this is the actual. They're both the same color, so you probably won't be able to tell the difference. I have the front bodice piece here attached to the back bodice piece by the shoulder, and the side back attached to the side front. But the side front isn't attached to the front, because if we were to attach that and then sew the armholes right sides together, we wouldn't be able to flip it out and like make the edge pretty. We wouldn't be able to do anything. It would be stuck like that. I'm gonna put the armholes right sides together, stitch them, and then flip them in, and then stitch the neckline wrong sides together. And you've got a nice, smooth, finished armhole. I sewed the skirt together like you would sew any skirt together, and then we're going to just put the bodice right sides together with the skirt. Just like the bodice, I have 2 capes, and I'm going to put them right sides together and sew the bottom, not the top. Now attach the cape right side to wrong side of the bodice. Well, it has been a bit since the last clip that you saw, and a lot has happened. Mindset wise, when I started making this dress, I didn't like the fabric already, and then on top of that, I wasn't obsessed with the design either. That's not a good mindset to be in when you're going to put effort and work into something. I cut it out of a different material than the mock-up material, and it stretched. And remember when I said that maybe I should possibly make a second mock-up of the skirt, and I was like, nah, I should have made a second mock-up. So I put the dress on and it didn't fit, and the cape was so weird. So I seam ripped the cape off, and then I fit the dress. Then I went to put the cape on, and then the cape didn't fit. So I recut the cape out because I thought I knew what I had messed up with. Meanwhile, I am getting very, very sick. I cut everything out for the second time, and I was getting ready to sew it all together, and then I had to go to work. I went to work, and as I was going to work, I got sicker and sicker and sicker. I don't know if it's sicker or more sick. Either way, it was getting bad. Then I came home to the cape that was still not done, and I think that was like Friday, so I had Saturday and Sunday to finish the video before it needed to go up on Monday. So I put the cape on the dress, and it not only doesn't fit, but the shoulders are puckering still. And at that point, I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know why the cape's not fitting, and I'm over it. So I took the cape off, I hemmed it, and just kind of finished all the seams, and that's the dress we ended with. So moral of the story is, thinking that you may need to make another mock-up, then just go ahead and just make another mock-up. That was not how this video was supposed to turn out. So regardless of the end result, you did still get to see my design process, which is what this video was, so maybe not completely a failure. But I will be making more of these videos. If you all like this video, please hit the like button. If you would like to see more, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if you have any suggestions or requests, please leave them in the comments down below. Until next time, tschüss!